Welcome to my brand new shop. It is literally a giant mess in here, but it's all good because now the fun part begins. The movers came back on Wednesday to move all of my heavy equipment, and they put pretty much my equipment where I wanted it, so that's great. However, there is still a lot of stuff still from the house that needs to be organized, as you can see behind me. And my own tools are all in boxes still, and I still have to put them back in the workbench, and then I have to find new places to put them. I gotta hang things on the wall. There's lots to do. A quick thing to note about this shop is that it is not currently insulated. It's spring right now, so that will work for obviously the next 6 months. But come winter, I definitely have some considerations to make. So the question becomes, do I make any of those adjustments now? Do I start adding insulation? What do I actually do? The reality is that I'm probably not going to do any of that right now. I think what I want to do is I just want to get my shop up and running. And even though it would have been nice to paint and insulate and do all that kind of stuff before the tools are in place, I think I'm still going to put the tools in place. So that might bite me in the butt later on, but I really want to get the tools back up and running. It's already been 2 weeks where I haven't done anything. And even within the house, I have so many things I want to get started with, and I can't because I don't have anything hooked up yet. So that's where we're at. Let's start organizing this garage and get it set up for some fun. Okay, it's been a few hours. I've been working hard at getting a whole bunch of boxes unpacked, and I have a bit of a floor now. So that's exciting. There's still stuff everywhere, don't get me wrong. But it's starting to come along. I got my planer, my jointer over here, my bandsaw, my drill press, got the laser. Then all this kind of stuff is just like gardening and tires and boring stuff. And then I have a new little workshop that I set up here. I got my drum sander. I got my planer. My goodness, I always mess up planer and jointer here. And then I have my workbench and my table saw. And my miter saw is over here. And these are the same cabinets that I have before that I'm just utilizing for now until eventually I can make something really cool. So it's great. Almost there in terms of getting things in its right spot. So it's a good beginning. I'm happy with my progress so far. I am crying. Look at my beautiful tools. Look how much rust is on it. And that is simply just because it's been in transport, and even though it was protected, it was fine, but now it's in a different environment. It's much more humid here. It's been raining nonstop, and this shop is not insulated. So, I got some maintenance to do. And the same thing goes for my saw. I just kind of wiped off the worst of it, but you can still see it. It's got that layer of rust on it. So I gotta get it cleaned up. I gotta add some wax. I've been watching some YouTube videos to find out what the best product is. But if you have any recommendations for how I can long-term protect my tools from rust being in a humid environment, I would love to hear your feedback. So as part of setting up my new shop, I'm trying to perform some maintenance on some of my tools. This one, for example, has, this is my dust collector, and it has this thing that goes around, or supposed to go around, to release the dust. However, for the longest time, it has not really been working, and I've had to push on it manually in order to get this blade to spin. So I just took it apart right now to take a look what's going on, and it turns out that there's this little thing right here that's responsible for how far up and down this sits and how it connects with this part. And I am able to tighten it, but it also seems that every time I spin in the one direction, it's fine, but if I go the other way, the whole thing comes apart again. So I don't know if there's a long-term solution for fixing this, but at least now I know what's going on. and I'll just have to remember to always put it in the right direction when I'm spinning it. Obviously, it's I would say a design flaw, but yeah, at least I'll get it to work. So that's progress. So one of the first things that I'm going to be focusing on in my shop is actually getting my laser back up and running. And as mentioned multiple times, I don't yet have the proper power, but I'm pretty sure that it will still run on 15 amps if I just have nothing else going on at the same time. Well, I still need the water cooler, that's essential, but I'm gonna see if I can make it work for the time being, because I kind of forgot that I have an order that is due in 3 weeks. And I want to get started on it. So crossing fingers I can make it work. Otherwise, yeah, I don't know. I guess I will figure something else out, but we'll tackle that when it comes to it. Let's get started on the setup. So here's the progress of my laser setup. The laser tube is back where it belongs, and I have hooked up the vent. It's just gonna go outside for the time being. This is not an ideal situation, but it's gonna work just for now. As I mentioned, I have an order that's due, and I just wanna make sure that I can get this working before I find more of a permanent solution. It's hooked up to the water tank, and so far, I think everything is good. Now will just be the moment of truth, whether or not the power that I have in here can handle the water cooler and the laser at the same time. So wish me luck. So as you can see, water is going through it right now, so that's good. So far, no leaks, so that's good too. It's gonna take it a bit to get to the right temperature, and I'm not risking anything until it's actually at the right temperature. So right now it's at 12 degrees. We'll let that heat up a bit, and then we will turn on the laser. Okay, we're closing this. Water arrow 1. Guess it's time to look at the manual. Yeah, so I pretty much know what I did wrong. I'm just gonna turn this off again, because what I did is, it has these tubes in the back that says inlet and outlet, and so does the other one, but I put the inlet to the inlet and the outlet to the outlet, but apparently you're supposed to switch them around, and I did not remember that. So whoops-a-daisy. Let's fix that up, and hopefully that will solve the issue. Okay, I just switched it over, and now there's definitely lots of action going on. So whatever I saw before was apparently wrong. But I see all the little bubbles traveling. So we'll let that run through for a little bit before we attempt to do what we need to again. But hopefully that is all it needed. Let's do another test now, and hopefully everything is fine. Okay, so laser is on. I have not turned on the fan. We're gonna wait with that, and I'm just gonna do a quick pulse to see what happens. Woo! I think that worked. Yeah, baby! We're back in business! Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Nice. Okay, great. So now I can do a quick test. I'll just put some stuff in here and actually run it and see what happens. And we are officially back in business! Woohoo! So you might be wondering why I decided to close down my other shop. I recently did a shop tour, and if you haven't checked that one out, definitely check that video right here. And as you can see, that shop had everything that you could possibly wish for. It had a great layout, it had more than enough space, even though I did find it challenging figuring out where I might put a CNC in the future, but I'm sure I would have solved that eventually. However, the reason for moving to a bigger shop had nothing to do with actually needing a bigger shop. This is just a fortunate accident as part of the process. The real reason is because we wanted to be closer to my husband's work, And we also wanted to have better abilities for my girls to get to school. And we're now much closer to a school bus for them to take to their school every single day. So it's gonna make life a lot easier for us as a family. And even though we loved our other house, we even renovated it, we made it ours, we pretty much did everything that we possibly could have wanted to that house, it just wasn't helping with the daily stuff. And as a family, sometimes you have to make the decisions that make sense for you as a full family, not just as you as an individual. And I think we had a pretty good compromise because, you know, we moved away from our other house, which was amazing. But in return, we got another amazing house. We waited till the right time. And now I have this beautiful shop over here that will give me lots of opportunities for the future to come. And we have 3.5 acres and I'm excited. This is a great compromise, really. And I'm excited to see what the future holds. So as you can see, I currently have no dust collection. So we're taking advantage of the great outdoors. Luckily, it's a nice and beautiful day and a perfect day to be outside. And at least I have a bit of space where it doesn't really matter, where I can, you know, temporarily add some wood chips too. I'm gonna next pull out my drum sander and do the same thing because I am working on a sign right now and I gotta get this order done. It's been exactly 3 weeks since we moved. And it has been a journey. But right now I am out in the woods that's very close to my house. And I am just enjoying this beautiful day. There's trees everywhere. And what woodworker doesn't love trees? But I wanted to share a little bit about the last 3 weeks and some lessons learned over this process of moving and some things that I didn't really consider when I started this wood story, meaning the moving of the wood story. And the main thing was that I realized that it was going to take a long time to move. I got that. And I also understood that it was going to take a long time for me to get my tools set up. And that's why I thought it'd be fun to kind of show that journey as part of it. But what I didn't realize is when you're moving, it's not just that you're moving your equipment and your shop. You're moving yourself and your life. And regardless of who you are, you know, this is my business. WoodStory is my business. But my life is also tied to it, which means that all of our personal things also had to be changed at the same time. So, you know, personal boxes had to be unpacked. But I would say that's the easiest part of it. But, you know, then there's all the silly tasks, such as, you know, you got to change your driver's license address. You got to change your health card. You got to change your property taxes, all that kind of stuff. You got to set up your new utilities. And the list goes on and on and on. Like, we're on a septic and we have a cistern as well. So we even had to find a new company to do that because our old one wasn't able to come out here because we're a bit further away. So there's all of these things that you have to dedicate mental energy to do. And that's after you've moved. So you think, oh, I'm done moving. My list is done. But honestly, that's just when it's getting started. And then there's even just the daily time that it takes to find something because it's no longer in the spot that it was before. And you probably forgot where you put it because it's a new drawer. And let's be honest here, when you're unpacking, you're in a disarray anyway. So your head's not quite in the right spot. And then your kids are constantly asking, oh, where's this? Where's that? And your husband's asking, where's this? Where's that? It just goes on and on and on. So that's why it's nice to come out here in the woods and have a little well-deserved break. But here's the real update. It's been 3 weeks. I still don't have power in my shop. I have managed to get out there a few times. I'm actually building a chicken coop right now because I still have chickens on my old property, so I'm going back and forth all the time to take care of them, but it's time to move them out here. And I also managed to make a sign that was due because I had an order, so I got that done too, so that was good. But outside of that, I haven't really had a lot of time to be in the shop because of everything else that I had to do. But tomorrow the electrician is finally coming to hook up my power for real, which will make it easier because now I can start all the fun stuff such as hooking up my dust system, actually getting the shop to where I want it to be. Because right now I'm like, I can't put anything on the walls because the electrician is gonna need to put his wires up there. So I've kind of been at a little bit of a standstill. And that's also part of the reason that this video certainly has taken a lot longer than I wanted it to, because I didn't really have a lot to show. You know, I didn't really think that showing me changing my driver's license address was that interesting. But there's a lot more coming. So keep following along. And if you haven't seen episode 1, definitely go and see that and see what started this whole WoodStory journey of moving. And then in the next coming weeks, that's where we'll get into some really fun stuff. I'll show you how I plan to set up my dust extraction system, how I'm going to do that so that it's more efficient. I'll show you what the actual electricity setup ended up being once the electrician has been in. And then we'll get back into projects because it's time to build again. And hopefully you're out there building right now. So, you know, if you want to build something fun, check out this planter box video. That one is super simple and it's spring and it's time to do those kind of things right now. So I can't wait to see you again in episode 3. So stay tuned and I will see you soon in the next Wood Story.